Today we're going to talk about gender equality and social inclusion, which is something that we all know about, but I'm just briefly running through what it means. What is our understanding of equality? What is our understanding of inclusion? How it corresponds to why we're here. So just to start off with a story. When I ask my mother what she does at home, whether she's a homemaker or a job rose, her reply is usually, I wake up every day in the morning before everyone else does. So I'm an alarm clock for everyone. I go to bed at night after everyone sleeps. So I'm sort of like a lullaby to everyone in the family. And I'm a caretaker to all my family members, to my elders, to my in-laws at home. So I'm a caretaker. I clean the house, I do laundry, so I'm a housekeeper as well. And all these things, and I also educate my children when they come home from school. I do sit with them, do their homework. I cook for my entire family every meal, and the list goes on. So yes, in a sense, I'm a job holder because, like any other jobs, I have roles, responsibilities, but it's confined within my house. The only difference is I don't get paid. So what does that tell us? I just want to throw it to you. What does that? I mean, there are two specific sort of elements in the things that she does, and this is what most women do across the world every day. What does that tell us? Me.
I think that just by hearing this story, I just get tired. Like to me, what resonates with me is that this woman is doing a lot. No, like this woman and many others, or if not all of us, no, like it's too much to do and zero recognition, and perhaps also is and not only about zero recognition, but exigence. Not like it's not that they don't recognize what to do, but you have to do that. No, it's yeah, it's not optional. You should. I mean, people ask that. That's the perspective. It's not that we should do it. By hearing that, that yes, like it's expected for us to do all those things. Yeah, but I think everyone.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Just now, what she says that women role and responsibility are internalized by themselves, no? So we are women, so we have to do it. And the woman's job is labor intensive, time consuming, no? And also the valuation of woman work is not recognized or respected in our society, especially in South Asia, I think, in South Asia. And I'm from Nepal, and I'm indigenous people from Nepal. And when we introduce in Nepal also, most of the women, they introduce themselves as we are housewife. And always I say, if we are housewife, why there is no house husband? There should be house husband also. We are a homemaker. We need to say that we are a home manager, homemaker. Why we say housewife? Does the house has a wife? We have to question this kind of thing in the society, you know. Thank you.
So this is what gender is, no? So whatever we talked about, why do we have to do those tasks? Because it's prescribed to us by society, by everyone around us, that women should be doing these jobs. That's the woman's role. And these prescribed roles, norms, are what governs us, dictates our every move, every step we take, every day on a daily basis, right? So this is the social attributes and opportunities associated being a female. It's not to say that men don't have prescribed views as well. They do. This is what gender is all about. This is the concept behind of gender. Now, to the next bit. When we look at the other elements, those roles are prescribed by society, by the norms, but then we have to have another lens also. What does that do to us? Because we are confined to those roles, what does that do to us? We are not able to use our full potential. There are barriers. We are not exposed to other opportunities. For example, in comparison to men. We are not exposed to other social interactions, to other social processes. That builds our capacity to make decisions, to adapt to other worlds, because we confined to these prescribed roles, right? That's why we are excluded from the mainstream development, economical, political domain in comparison to men. So that's where the exclusion lens comes on.
I just wanted to share that in Peru, in the Andean part, when children reach 8 years old, women start doing housework and men still going to the school. So since that age, women start being like householders or doing house jobs, while men continue their education. So they have another kind of opportunities.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted also to follow the conversation because this I relate this with what is going on here. Like if women we are confined to the houses, like then we don't have access to information. No, we don't have access to participation. And you're saying like we also think that we are not capable of that.
Yeah. Because we are also conditioned to think that we are meant for these jobs only. That's why we don't feel that we have the capacity to openly talk, to openly express our opinions, views, and have confidence level to do that. So these are the barriers. We don't, learn new skills. We are not exposed to the, external spaces and socialization processes that empowers us. So for that's why those are barriers we're talking about. That's why we're here. And what does equality mean? That's just a starting point. What does equality mean to you?
Same opportunities. Maybe the same opportunities for everyone as an accommodation or whatever. Being seen.
And it's like
My term equality is being recognized as equal. In most cases, you find that men are more amplified than women. But we have this term to say that what man can do, a woman can do also. For example, we find that there are jobs that are termed are only for men. Then I usually ask why. We can also do that. For example, the engineering field, we find that men are dominated. Then we have to ask why. For example, the place I work, I'm in the conservation field, and I was the only lady working in between 30 men. So I started a campaign. When we are doing job adverts, I really motivate women to apply so that you can come together, work, and then show men you can really do what you're doing. So I think we are all equal despite of age, gender, race. Yeah.
Therefore, equality means what? We have the same opportunities, rights, and responsibilities, all of us, despite, regardless of our age, regardless of our sex. But here, this is where it gets complicated. When you look at equality from the inclusion lens, we're all equal, yes, but we come from different spaces, right? So giving equal treatment to unequal people, is that equality? We don't need equality. Exactly. So my needs are different than yours. Your needs are different than yours. We come from different spaces, different background. Likewise, you do too, I do too. So merely saying equality does not suffice, no? We have to go further. And that's one of the process of achieving equality is you also have to consider how that is achieved. That is achieved based on your needs. And that's where equity comes in. And it gets further complicated because equity only gives you what you want based on your needs. But then does it addresses the barriers of the root causes? That's where inclusion comes in. When you take out the barriers, so we don't need to talk about equity and equality. We are free and liberated at the end of the day. We have free people everywhere. See? So, any thoughts on that? Any questions on that?
Well, I think in this the between equality and equity, and my question, and I hope we can solve it, is how we could achieve them. Because yes, how? That's my question.
Yeah, difficult. But from the inclusion lens, what we say is that, we're talking about gender equality. Okay, we're under the gender narrative. Now we have to disaggregate. Well, we have to unlayer the whole narrative. I'm a woman, for example. We're all women. Like I said before, if I'm a woman with disability, then I have more needs than you do. If I'm a person, if I'm a third gender, then I'm more discriminated against than the rest of the women. So these kind of unlayering, these kind of intersectional lens is what we call inclusion. Then you prioritize the needs of those specific individuals and design, develop initiatives, activities, projects.
In Nepal, when they say woman, always we as an indigenous women activist for the constitution law policy, what we say is that don't write only women, because among women is not a homogeneous group. Woman is a heterogeneous group. When we say women, there are indigenous women, untouchable Dalit women, Muslim women, Madhesi women in our community. We have different layers of we have different women here, and so we always say that address the intersectionality among women in the constitution, law, and policy. Also, among indigenous women, also Nepal government has recognized 59 indigenous women, indigenous people. So among indigenous also we have 59 different socialization process, language, tradition, religion, different we have, traditional customary practices. And when we say again women intersectionality, when you see it in the different layers, like the layers in the onion, no onion, remember that? So onion. So in that also, elderly women, adolescent women, children, disabled, LGBTI. So when we work in the grassroots or in national, regional level, provincial level, as an activist or as a government concerned authorities, we have to address all the women. And when in Nepal, when they give training, they give in Nepali language. Khas Nepali language is the official language of the dominant caste group. So there are 125 caste and ethnicity, 123 language speaking people. So how the person is speaking mother tongue in their majority of their ancestral homeland, they cannot understand the official Nepali national language. So the language also is a very barrier for the right to information in the plan and policy. So when we look at gender also, we have to address the intersectionality among women. Even the CEDAW, you are familiar with CEDAW, no? Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. Even the CEDAW talks about only women. CEDAW doesn't talk about the intersectionality of women. And we indigenous women has to find our space only in the Article 14 rural women. So see how we have to, only in rural women we have to find. But 1 to 30 article in CEDAW shadow report as a women, intersectionality women, we should find in each and every article representation or education, health, employment. In every section, we have to find our space and lobby and advocacy at the United, in the, what you say, in the, in the United Nations Forum, anywhere, even here in the conference of the biodiversity, which is happening on, and also the global framework of biodiversity is again going to be coming out, so our government will also adopt. But it's a question that how the indigenous women's right, customary practices, traditional institution, or meaningful participation and representation will be addressed. But according being an activist, not only indigenous rights should be ensured. All the intersectional part of perspective, the framework need to come. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I think with inequality comes discrimination, and that has been a historic point of very important to address. And so I would like to also give a case study in Kenya, where the government of Kenya has really been progressive in achieving non-discriminatory laws in across all frameworks. And so there was an introduction of an affirmative action across all counties and across all public sectors, where with laws such as the two-thirds gender rule, where in every public office, not more than two people in a group of three people should be of the same gender. We have and I think it has really increased the participatory rights of women in terms of decision making, and we have seen growth and progress in some of the sectors. For instance, in the conservation sectors, that women have been directly involved in the process, and I think it's a step at a time. Maybe not very fast, but it's gradual, and we will get there.
So that leads to, our conversation on what is exclusion, what is socially excluding groups. Who are they? Not only women. Right? Those are the groups that have been historically and systematically discriminated against based on their income, based on their age, what else? Their sex, religion.
Hello, I'm elephant in the room. I know, right? I don't know I don't know the exact reality of it. Yeah, if you're depending on the country where you're from, your times are different. Hey, you think I have two habits? Just uh, just don't feel bad. Take the place you need to take, and we need more women in different roles in society. Like and I think that my opinion, no, I would first by asking your husband or future husband to take equal role in your relationship so you can free yourself and put yourself in positions where you can really change the place women have in society. I think that's the best way to change this reality and to be really equal. Because I still see a lot of inequality just in the relationships in the way like who are taking care of the children's or that we're taking care of the our staff. So yeah, just, just share that role with your husband or with your partner, and then you can free yourself and be the change.
Thank you for sharing. So then we come back to how do we do that? Yes, right. When reverse the husbands, men in general,
Or any partner.
or yes. So just have conversations, just have dialogues. But it also it depends also on the men. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I guess that the roles of gender doesn't apply only to women, but also to men. And it's difficult if the just to talk with the other person if the role of genders are really it. Like they didn't have the chance to think about it. The role they do in society. They no, it's
So I would do it like because we're saying about train ourselves. Well, at the beginning we were discussing, like that we have been taught, not haven't taught to what we haven't taught to when we started. We have been taught to doubt ourselves, like observe that we are not enough, that not many things we can say. We difficult to free ourselves like that.
And that is part of the process of ensuring conditions that enable us to, contribute more, right? It's our full potential to contribute more to these conversations, to economic, cultural, development, ministry development, and benefit the results from it also. That's one thing. So the exclusion part is there. So how do we what is social inclusion? Then we also have to talk about the barriers at all levels in the organization. Is one barrier that we want to overcome. Other barriers we have to overcome as well. We have institutional barriers, we have policy barriers, we have programmatic barriers at all levels, structural barriers. These are what we talked about right now is just social barriers. This is how we look at inclusion, and this is actually taken from the web. It's it's there. It's a framework for looking at reality, equality, equity, and justice from a very inclusive lens. Can someone explain what they see here?
Yeah, I think that those four words are reused currently. So, but it doesn't mean the same thing, not because well, we can see that there's a clear difference. In reality, there are people that have more opportunities than others, but I think there's not quite understanding of the society what equality, equity, and justice is. So, well, on those pictures, it's really clear. So justice is what we like equality, yet they have like same support, but not all people have the same opportunities or the same context they were born. So equality doesn't. With equality, not all the people that have the same opportunities or benefits. But in equity, you can, but and justice it will be the best people. Any people.
This picture shows that equity is a fair justice, fair distribution. Because inequality, when people or anyone gives anything, then male, female, they all can enjoy. But maybe you have some thought that when we give food to dog and the crate in the that bed, then only dog can eat, no? What really cannot. So when we give whatever can, when we ask, yeah, crane need of what kind of glass of kind of thing. So when we give, whoever needs, according to the need of the so you point out, oh, so we missing it.
I didn't read this.
Yes, sorry. But at what stage are we in student conference? So what do we have to do when we go back home? Bring that inclusion lens and immigration and justice. Because you're good at equality. I think we're also can do equity, but most people don't see that. Actually, the problem is the fairness movement. That's the barrier. It's to cause.
There's fence all around.
And that's what we have to work toward. All the barriers. It's quite weepy to show the different stage. But my comment is for the last one, the justice. I think it's great we can remove the barriers. But for the last one, for justice, we need to join in to participate. So the contribution of the audience are very much, we are not audience, we need to be participant. Our contributions are important in the process. Absolutely. If we remove the barrier, we don't need equity, equality, reality. We're already in that space, no? We need our any interventions. Address influence, the benefits.
Yes, that's the situation. But when we come back home,
This is what matters.
when we are going to take action so that we can be in the same level. That's the question. If we didn't take action to put everything, to put everyone in the same level, you're not going to have no justice. And the reality is going to be bad. We have to take action.
Thank you. So that's exactly where we're stopping.
I'm quite interesting. So most of the time, we do training on gender, and mostly we speak about the two in the middle, equity and equality. we don't talk about these other two aspects, especially aspects of justice and removing those systemic barriers. So it will be interesting to have a conversation on how do we get to remove the systemic barriers. And on the equity aspect, you will hear the men saying, why do we talk about gender equity? You say gender is both men and women, and mostly you're speaking about women, and they are looking at that and how you're talking about fairness and all that. They're not looking at the reality right now. Yes, that's the thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we need to do more work in terms of removing those systemic barriers. I think that's it.
Well, I see event like this, I mean, like us as participants, I feel that we are evolving more from these events in terms of human beings than the results of the events itself. So just the fact that we're looking the youth, all the kids have space in this event already. Folks are making decision making on this by the person. I think just the fact that there's a space in that you're supported to come here as Muslims, or I think there's progress. And it's a way I look at it. It's like women was talking about. It's kind of there's still positive things, a lot of positive things out of this event, even if you are not taking part of the decisions in what we should do with biodiversity.
Absolutely, a huge progress, a huge improvement. I'm just here to give you, sort of flag you on the struggles ahead. To reach to that point where we have no barriers, where we remove all taxes. That's where gender equality and social inclusion framework. Because within the gender spectrum, we talk about inequality. Within the social spectrum also, we talk about inequality. So these researchers came up with a concept that we have to look at it as a whole comprehensive. Because we're in a state with socially and in terms of gender, we're looking at inequality, right? Our goal is to see remind the people and advocate for it together. So that's how the framework came about in making. Researchers develop this and ideas, like student help us work like gender equality, social inclusion framework, which basically ensures that the concerns of women or ensures the conditions, the environment that we create for women to use their full potential. That's what it's all about. And why is it important? Because GESI also complements the SDG goals of being no one human. It's important to reach to the most unreachable groups. For example, we talked about women, no? Who are the most unreachable? Those who live in the rural areas, those who live even in the rural areas. For example, in a country like Nepal, you have the mountains and hills of geographically it's very diverse. Who are the most excluded? Those who live in the mountains because of our difficult landscape. Services are not reached. So we're talking about those with unreachable groups. When you target them and their specific needs, now this is when the inclusion happens. The framework talks about that. So what does the GESI framework does? It analyzes, it assesses the excluded groups are? What are the causes behind their exclusion? And then after assessing that, then we examine what are the policy responses to address exclusion. After that, we look at the institutional capacity and the institutional response. And again, within the institution, then it narrows down to what are the programs, procedures, policies within the institution to address those barriers, those exclusions. And then the fifth step is, and then we assess the strength of the gaps to address the barriers. And you provide recommendations. So these are the analytical framework of GESI that we. Now we're coming to the application. What we're talking about, whatever we talked about so far, it's just the theory, concept. How do we apply that? These are the first steps. And example again, in Nepal, we have a gender responsive budgeting. That's mainstreamed by the Ministry of Finance. Every ministry has to report on gender responsive budgeting, which includes allocating budget for global population or disabilities. This is mandatory. Each and every ministry has to report on that. So, I mean, this is just a snapshot of what gender equality association together looks at. You have more details sort of within the framework. We have a lot of details in how we go about analyzing those steps. So we'll have one session, detailed session in the coming year. Webinar. Looking out for the website for information. And just food for thought. At the end, just recap what divides us. Those are the exclusion lenses. Geography divides us, income divides us, age divides us. And what happens when we're divided? Exclusion. Some groups are more likely to be excluded than others because of these divisions. And then what divides us are these targeted information, collective capacity, institutional response, policy response, decisions, facilities, and equal benefit sharing. And that's what the GESI framework talks about. Thank you. Questions, comments?
I think that this is a really amazing opportunity because we know that here after the COP finishes, the gender kind of action is going to be adopted, no? Regardless of how it's going to look like at the end, it's going to be adopted. So I think that this point that we're sharing, particularly the analytical framework, will allow us to understand more and push for specific strategies for our own context of how the GPA should be adopted. So I'm really looking forward for the training so we can have more concrete advocacy points and technical tools to push for the GPA implementation on our context.
Thank you so much. I take this opportunity to share shortly the situation in DRC. We have a customer now who for an obstacle, a barrier for the gender equality. We have our law, the state law, who did make some thing according to women's and gender equality. That's why in our country we are pushing so that law, the customer, for the customer law, we are making dialogue with local authorities so that we can change, things can change. And with the government, we are pushing the government to make the revision of some law as the land rights. We worked a lot because women didn't have access to land in our country. we pushed them during 10 years. And so now we have the good result. Yes, the Convention of Biodiversity is going to take action. We're going to sign, but the problem is the application in the Vancouver area. That's why I'm talking to everyone to push things, to take action in our local government, in our local area, because sometimes people are not respecting this law. We are going to have a convention now. We are taking it in our country, in our area, but people are not respecting it. That's the question. Thank you so much. I think that you understand my English. That's good.
Any observation? Any additional comments? Observation?
It's a question, so like organization that work in conservation or in the environment, like, and want to integrate GESI into their work, into their programs. Maybe that you need an in-depth training, but maybe just briefly, where do they start?
It will be in the GESI frameworks, the 5 steps that I talked about. Look at, starts with policy. It starts with assessing who are excluded, who are excluded, and what are the barriers. And if we look at the policy response, the national policy response, our interest, we assess that. And then when we come to the institution, we talk about the institution. Assess the institution in different elements, different factors contribute. For example, you make this an aggregated file of staff. Males and females excluded groups. And that has to be filed. When you look at the HR policies within the institutions, TOIs, in terms of reference, can they have a gender sensitive, gender or inclusive responsibilities in our classes? When you think about, the finance, for example, the finance officer in your institution, does that finance officer have a gender inclusive task? Usually we don't think about a finance officer having a gender or an inclusive lens. It's important how you treat people to mitigate your biases, your judgment. Everyone should have, under the terms of their inclusive touch, gender sensitive sort of role. That's what I say. So the TOR, in terms of reference, the HR policies, job descriptions, and within the institutions, how about facilities? Do you have facilities that's appropriate for people with disabilities? That's inclusiveness. Do you have facilities within your institutions that are gender responsive? For example, childcare facilities. You're breastfeeding mom. Are you allowed to take even a woman feed your children back to work? Is that allowed? That's how we assess the institution. And then you the programs that the institutions have. What kind of projects, initiatives do the institutions have that target specifically to other vulnerabilities? Do we have any programs for that in our institution? And how is it benefiting them? So that's the program side. And within the programs, monitoring and reporting, we also assess the M&E. Does it happen? When you go out there, monitor your programs, your activities. Do we have a disaggregated matrix that fills in all the data of what is benefiting? We need to have those numbers. And in the reporting, the format, when you look at the format, we have a dedicated section within the report for women, other groups. What is the institution doing? Do we have a dedicated chapter content in the report itself format? One of the best practices I can give is example from Nepal. Nepal has adopted the GESI framework. All the developed countries in Nepal ensure that this framework is applied in all the institutions. The government has a GESI policy. Each ministry has a GESI strategy. Each ministry has a GESI strategy. Each ministry has a GESI focal person in the institution. So we also look at the institution. Do we have a help desk where people can offer gender-related more gender-related complaints, grievances to support? Do we have that help desk? So in Nepal, each ministry has a GESI focal person, a GESI help desk. And then I talked about the gender responsive budgeting where the Ministry of Finance mandates that all ministry put on gender responsibility. That's the application we're talking about. Of course, there are challenges in the implementation. We were going to just a focal person. Does that person needs work? That's, another set of challenges. But at least promise to the point where we, said, okay, we need to embed and integrate these elements within the institutions, within the state institutions. That we've been successful. But beyond that, yes, we do have challenges in the implementation. But as we cross one hurdle after another, it's one step at a time. It's slowly, it's not possible with it's not the overnight work. Let's start. Thank you so much. Yeah, listening to the conceptual. We have all these.
It's very good. 9 convention, 8 convention Nepal government has ratified. Almost 2024 human rights treaty they have ratified and updated. What? No implementation. And no inclusion. We indigenous people, we are excluded in decision making. There is no meaningful participation and representation in the election in every sphere of life, private to national level, political sphere. So it's really hard. We are struggling and we are angry because of inequality, injustice. We have to work, and now we need to, all of us need to go on action to get emancipation from injustice, inequality, discrimination, all things. Thank you.
We're still hopeful. It's quite a quite a lot of progress than any others. Any last thoughts before we close the convention? Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Going to end the meeting.